Welcome to Jewels of the Trade. This is part 2 in our History of Jade series. If you missed part 1, click the link in the description and learn all about Nephrite Jade's role in ancient China and the Qing emperor who became dangerously obsessed with the green jadeite we call today Imperial Jade. Thank you so much for watching my video on the Dowager Empress Cixi, also known as Lady Yehenara, and her love affair with Jade in the 19th and 20th century. Before we get started, answer this question for me in the comments. If you were a power-hungry ruler, which gemstone would you become mindlessly obsessed with? Quick disclaimer, I will likely mispronounce the Chinese names in this video. I am an English speaker and a mediocre one at best. So if you know the proper pronunciations of these words, please tell me. I welcome your feedback. Let me know in the comments. Dowager Empress Cixi's chapter in the love story of Jade is not one to be overlooked. Also called the Dragon Lady, the Dowager Empress in today's retelling of history has a reputation for cruelty. But as is the case with just about everyone, there is more to her complicated story. Crazy as she may have been, I admire her for a lot of things actually, particularly her love of jade and pearls. But worth mentioning was her very impressive rise to power. In Dowager Empress Cixi's story before the throne, she is called Lady Yehenara, a daughter of Manchu nobility, chosen as an imperial concubine at the young age of 16. According to legend, upon being examined for her virginity to determine eligibility for the emperor's harem, she slyly dropped one of her jade bangles into the hands of the midwife who was examining her as a resourceful bribe because, you know, it worked and she was admitted into Emperor Qianfeng's harem. Although she didn't get much of his attention at first. If anything, she was just an average concubine. So how in the world did she eventually come to rule China? Neither the empress or the other concubines could give Qianfeng a son, but the woman who would eventually be called the Dowager Empress Cixi became pregnant and gave birth to a boy in 1856. This was a big deal. This young woman, who the emperor had not originally batted an eye at, rose to become second only to the empress in the harem. When the emperor died in 1861 at the young age of 30, their 5-year-old son ascended to the throne, which is when Cixi really started to gain her power, although it's said she already had influence over the emperor when he was alive. Cixi has been called the godmother of Jadeite. After her rise to power, she became obsessed with jadeite from Qianlong's reign. Hairpins, jewelry, carvings, jade everything all the time. She even hung a piece of jade on her mirror and licked it every morning, believing it would calm her mind and slow her aging process. Please don't lick your jade at home, but if you already do though, go ahead and let the world know in the comments. And as always, keep other people's jewelry out of your mouth, like licking somebody's neck. The emperor's mother exhibited the epitome of opulence, from being allegedly served 120 dishes at each meal to having a team of eunuchs care for her 20 Pekingese dogs. The Dowager Empress lived lavishly in spite of poverty and decline in the outside world. She snuffed out everyone who threatened her power. The regents assigned to her son Jade, and possibly the emperor's widow, her co-empress, if you will, who just so happened to die under mysterious circumstances. Gotta give credit where it's due though. Cixi did take action to modernize China's military and tried to squelch rebellion around the nation, but unfortunately, we all know how that turned out. Fast forward to the Boxer Rebellion, an anti-Christian uprisal at the turn of the century, displacing the Dowager Empress and resulting in the burning, defiling, and looting of the palace in Peking. Obviously significant in Chinese history, this is also one of the most significant events in Jade history. Stolen from the palace were jade cups, jade jewelry, an imperial seal, and countless other treasures including silk, porcelain, and art. Many priceless items were destroyed, but some were auctioned off to the highest bidder, and there was a lot of jade to be auctioned. Even one of Cixi's Pekingese dogs made its way to Queen Victoria, which is probably where the name Pekingese comes from, because it's spelled like Peking, like Beijing, Peking, Pekingese. Do you know their eyeballs can pop out? Cute dog. Burmese jadeite carvings and jewelry found their way to America following the destruction of the palace, along with pottery and art that sparked an American interest in the previously mysterious Chinese culture. And so the demand for jadeite in America began. Cixi returned to Peking intent on instituting change in China, but her death in 1908 left the throne in the hands of a 2-year-old emperor. Tragedy soon befell China, and Cixi's reputation has been debated ever since. What do you think? Was she a brilliant leader whose legacy lives on in Jade today? Or just addicted to power and the luxuries it brings? Thank you for watching my video. If you want a piece of history for yourself, be sure to check out Mason K Jade, the leading supplier of natural, untreated jadeite jade in the US since 1976. If your local jeweler doesn't carry Mason K Jade, be sure to visit mkjjewelry.com and use the discount code JOT for 10% off your order, and you get an extra 20% off if you're a first-time customer. And stay tuned for the History of Jade Part 3, Jadeite in Guatemala.